All right, everybody. Sorry about that. I had some issues there getting us going, but as you can see, we have a special guest with us tonight. But well, let's say Bebeomega say hello first, and then Aftersound can go ahead and say hi to everyone.
Hi everybody, hey Vozena, hey Supreme Victory Network. Thank you guys for showing your support and being with us. I'm hoping you're going to enjoy the show. And as Stevie said, we have an awesome guest who is also a prolific streamer. I mean, he's without his stream counterpart, Darkest Night, but here to you guys, Aftersound.
What's going on? Thank you for having me. This is giving me a little deja vu, a little nostalgia for Splinterfest, which is almost a year ago. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I mean, we're coming
It,
up. It was like mid August, or sorry, mid October. So it's like 10
Yeah.
months ago. But it's good to see you guys and chat with you guys again. BB Omega, you and I haven't actually chatted like this in a while. So thank you for having me on. I'm excited to chat.
It's our pleasure, man.
yeah, and what's up to Birds, Bees, and Trees as well, who just got here. And you're right. Like Splinterfest was such a special event. It was so cool to see the community come together. It was fun to get to meet people, walk around with people, and just kind of see that everyone else but me was really, really tall. It was actually
Not
kind of
me.
funny. Did you notice how many people there that I was like, wow, you guys are really tall? It was kind of funny to me.
When you meet them all in person, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like especially Chatter, because Chatter looks so young and like he's gonna be super small, and the guy's super tall. So that was kind of funny, but it was fun. It was kind of the best of times, and now we're living through what might be the second worst of times, possibly. I know you go by the nickname Papa Bear,
I don't have my mug with me,
and
but yes.
I think you bring another perspective to Splinterlands. A lot of us don't, and we talked about this a little bit the other day when the pre-show to your after, to our conspiracy stream we did. Make sure you guys go check that out because it was a lot of fun. But you got in at a different time as me. It's easy for me to be, super happy. I'm still up literally like 30x on my investment, even at the bottom, which is kind of crazy to imagine. And I think Bebeomega got in even earlier than you, but you're someone you were telling me you kind of got in a little bit more on the tail end, like more topish of the market maybe. So maybe you want to go through that with us because I don't know if I've ever heard that like full story about how you got in, the prices you were seeing, and like how that all went for you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm actually coming up to my 2 year Splinterversary, if we can call it that. I joined at the end of August 2021, so definitely not the top. The first time I bought SPS, it was 35 cents, and that was in August of 2021. Then it dipped down to 22 cents or something like that in September. And I went like all in. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Let's go. Rode that thing up to $1. And I was like, oh, everybody's talking about SPS going to the moon from here. We were all high on the or the bull run, thinking it would never end. And so what does SPS do then? We get the Chaos Legion hype and all that was happening. And SPS dips from $1 to 80 cents. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. This is the big dip before the big charge. So of course I go all in at that point. But yeah, obviously the rest is kind of history from there out. I when I look back at this, obviously you can look at the numbers and it's red or black, however you want to view it. But there's a lot of ways in which I've tried to make back, or yeah, I always talk about like taking ice cream money here and there. So it's actually kind of difficult because I haven't kept track of the numbers fully, and I haven't sold any of like my original stack of SPS. Right, I've taken my ice cream money from here and there, but at the end of the day, I've also diversified into a lot of other different areas within the game. Right, I've leveled up my deck over time. I've gotten some nodes, gotten some positions in the LPs, and I'm a long term believer in the Splinterlands ecosystem. I think we're going through a really tough period right now, and I always say this on my channel, right? Just because I don't want to be blindly bullish, and that's why I'm just like making sure. I drink out of the Papa Bear mug, or I wear the Papa Bear hat, kind of tongue in cheek, but at the same time, I always want to be realistic with where things are at and where they might be going.
Yeah, we got Alex in the chat saying that you bought an Oceanus for $50, and
I
I
didn't
think
buy
he
just
wanted
one.
he wanted you to talk about your ice cream money because he also told us to ask you how you calculate your ROI.
Ask Aftersound how he calculates ROI. Oh, he's trying to troll me about a different video where
Oh,
which is not based on my personal, but I was just trying to calculate ROI. I think it was it for land, Alex? I forgot which one we were looking at. But my own well, yeah, people, yeah. I mean, my
it's
own ROI.
okay.
Let me just
He
let me
trolls us too, so that's why
oh yeah,
he's here a little bit. But
he's just a troll. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, there was a point in let me say 2022, so like middle to like end of last year, around when Rift Watchers came out. I was like making videos about how I was finally able to like remove the emotional kind of element from the game for me, and I finally was able to split like what I wanted to do with like my account from a playing standpoint, and moved all my investments to like another account. And so like it's been easier for me to track that and then make money trading certain things here and there, while not worrying about like, okay, this is what I have in the game. I need this much SPS stake because I want to play forever, right? And try to make my way up to champion at some point in the future. So yeah, I mean, it's a tricky thing, Web3, because you got to go back and forth with the fact that some people view it as an investment, some people view it as a game, and it's very clearly a hot mess mix of both.
I have a suggestion.
Go for it.
What would you say, guys, if we bring Darkest Night on as well? I mean, he clearly is available. He clearly has nothing better to do.
I know, Darkest Night. What's going on, man?
So it would be like a natural thing, I guess, to bring him on as well. What do you think?
Oh, I see it now. My chat's a little bit laggy because I didn't
Yeah.
see the yo yet. I don't know. The last couple of weeks, the chat on my side has been laggier than yours, so that's kind of funny. Maybe because I'm uploading as well. But what's going on, Darkest Night? Good to see you in the crowd. I'm not going to put that same pressure on you because it's a lot easier to watch on your phone in bed than it is to go sit at a computer and talk.
Well,
I bet he's just having trouble sleeping because it's like,
Well,
what,
I
like 11
tried.
p.m. for him over there.
I tried.
See, he says he's down for the night. And hello
Well,
to Carlos and no problem, man. As long as you want to hang out and listen to us talk, that's always cool. So yeah, I was gonna let you know. Like for me, I always looked at Splinterlands as just a game, and I actually kind of looked at it as a way when I got involved to grow my Steam account, because when you're coming onto Steam or what is now Hive. You're trying to post about stuff and try to find a niche to post in, and I was trying because I like this idea of blogging and earning a little bit of money, and I couldn't find a niche, and then I got really into the whole Splinterlands game because it was like a default niche with default fans on that chain, and for a little while, like when this first started, Steam was at a couple bucks, and Splinterlands still had that big vote, and so you were earning a lot of money for posting about the game because there weren't very much of us doing it, and so that's been like a little side run that I got to go on with this game, and at the same time, having gone through my account going up from nothing to over $1 million in value, and then watching it come back down now to under $100,000 in value,
Crazy.
has been a pretty crazy thing, and it makes me wonder if I could do that again. Like if we bull run again and my account's worth a couple $1 million, could I resist not just selling it this time? Because last time I was making a lot of money in a couple other ecosystems, but I do see a bright future for Splinterlands. I've done my videos. I think there's a justification that if land can come out, if we can hit the flywheel with at least 2.5 years of distribution left on some of the distribution pools, so that we don't have to tip into the DAO, because that's the one fear, is that we do it too late, and we don't have enough SPS that's going to be coming out for the rewards to be really juicy for a couple of years. Then, but if they can do that, then I think the sky's the limit for what SPS can go to, because if that burn mechanism gets in place with these high staking mechanisms that we have, and increased staking mechanisms that's coming in there for all the different games. So it's a very interesting to see tail end of next year. We should be bull running, do either of you have numbers? Like, where do you start unloading this? Is it sooner, 10 cents? Is it 25 cents? Are we bull mode, $1, $2, $3?
I'm not.
And it's always an interesting game to try to play with myself because I don't know the answer really.
Yeah, I'm not planning on. Yeah, I'm pretty for myself. I'm pretty confident that it will get to a point where it will give me some passive income, and that's where I'm moving to Mango Mayhem in Philippines to retire. So, I mean, I'm not going to offload. Just when it comes to a point where the actual profit I'm getting daily or weekly is sustainable enough for like nice life in Philippines, I don't need to pull out. That will be ongoing ice cream, ice cream forever. So yeah,
There you
that's
go.
So we
my
got
fear.
Alex is saying 10x is when we'll start to dump. So right around 17 cents. Do you have any kind of guesstimate you want to give them? Remember, guys, not financial advice. Just players trying to think when we might take more ice cream money.
Yeah, yeah. It's what I've tried to do this bear market because same as you, right? Like I was hanging on to a decent amount of assets and then watched everything kind of drop. I'm just in a position now where I'm trying to unemotionally sell a small stack of SPS every week. Now it's not I'm not selling more than I'm earning from the game and LPs and all that, but I just without like thinking about it, I just sell it. I turn it into Bitcoin, I turn it into Ethereum, or I turn it into ice cream money, and I just try not to think about it, right? It's just so my hope is that, if SPS is at 1.8 cents, 18 cents, or a buck 80, I'm still going to be selling that same amount every week.
Okay, so you're more in the camp of you don't think you'll unstake though at those prices because
Well,
that's the true question for because I don't know my stake is currently just tipped over 500,000. Baby, how much do you have?
150?
And you're what did I see? I think I saw your 130 after sound. Did you out yourself on Twitter
uh,
earlier today, or was
I'm
it
at I'm
something
at
else?
I'm at 230 or so, or 235,
230.
I think. Yeah.
230 was the number. Yeah. So so I think all of us have pretty comfortable amounts. I know you play what in Diamond
Yeah, for
right
the most
now
part.
for the
Mhm.
most part. Yeah, because champion you need 400,000 for max rewards. It's been kind of nice. I've been earning like 14 SPS a win.
Oh,
Um,
that's nice.
yeah, playing up in champion right now. The only problem is it's hard to win, but
Mm. But when you
but
do,
How how do you
it's
feel
still
about
pretty
virus,
nice.
man?
well,
If it,
each one of your wins counts for like four of mine in Diamond, so it's significant.
Stevie
Yeah.
virus says hello.
Well, I haven't
Virus
seen
here
it
too?
yet. Give me a
No, he's
minute.
not. He is not.
Oh,
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 I'm just, I'm
oh,
he's
just
messing
trolling.
with me.
I'm just trolling Steve.
I was like looking for it. I'm like, I'm not going to throw up you and your plans to leave. See, this is why I'm not hanging out with him that much. Is just as soon as he becomes a buddy, he's going to ditch me out of the country because
I
he
know.
has a
He's
different
gonna head to
plan
the
than me.
Philippines, right?
Yeah, he's heading to the Philippines because he's running solo. I got the family, so the wife's not exactly ready to leave our house and stuff.
Well, Bebeomega, whenever you're gonna go to the Philippines, tell Darkest Night. He's looking for someone to travel with. I
Oh,
told him I
sure.
can't go.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
virus is here
Virus is
actually.
here now. So
Virus
so
is
he
here
did he did
actually.
show up. He usually does show up. So
Yeah, and I'll be happy to have Darkest Night traveling. I'm even pretty sure at some point we'll have a Splinterfest in Philippines. I mean,
Well,
to be honest, if there is a date for Splinterfest in Philippines in probably in the next 2 years,
mhm.
that might be the goal for me. I just go and then I stay. But I mean,
yeah, well that's not bad because if they're gonna have one, it's gonna mean we're gonna be bullish again. They're gonna have extra money within the company, and if they do it in the Philippines, I'd probably go. I have my passport. I could go, but I don't. I'm not positive on that one. I wanted to go to the After Dark Fest that might be happening, or is it Darkest Sound? What are you guys calling that one?
I mean, I think it's just a get together. After Dark was what we were calling it earlier, but we're hanging out in Atlanta, so anybody who's interested, we're finalizing the dates now.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on because we're both out here, so I have to get airfare, and then I have to see if it's a weekend that I can go. I can't go that last weekend of October. There's no way the wife's going to let me ditch them for the Halloween because we go to all like the different events that they have at the parks and the churches and all that stuff. So.
Yeah,
But
I know.
see, my travel to sorry after some. My travel to Philippines is not anytime soon, so you can still be friends. I mean, we can still go out and have fun. It's
Well,
like
I told you I'm gonna try and make my way to SoCal very soon if I can. Hopefully within the next couple of months. If not, then maybe early next year. So when I do, we should do like a Splinterlands meetup out there.
yeah. I mean,
We can definitely try to do that. I don't know how many other people are here. It seems like a lot of the players that we talk to or who are at least vocal are on the East Coast, or like more
Jimmy's
Central
here.
America.
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy's here, but I don't really know Jimmy that much. I mean, I've listened. I know of him now because he was on the People's Guild's podcast,
Yeah.
and I listened to it, and he definitely sounds like an interesting character. But I don't know him as well as some of the other people. So. Should we get a little bit into the town square? Do you have your notes for us so we can just steal them before you do your video?
It was so. I mean, it's like
There was a little bit of alpha dropped, a little bit from what I remember. Boss fights are coming, and we kind of knew that. Nate outed that when he came on our show a couple weeks ago.
Boss fights are not coming.
But
I
no,
cannot get excited
not
with
that they're not coming, but that they're going to be part of land. So land is going to be more of a game than people think it's going to be. Is basically what they're hinting at. There's going to be areas where you're going to be able to go on certain raids type events, and so that means it's going to be interesting to see like how that's gated, if it's gated at all. How and that actually. The thing that does makes me more excited for was land surfing being something people really want to do. Because if you can only fight bosses if you have territory, if you can only send troops to those battles, if you have workers in the land, then it makes land surfing a whole, a lot more intriguing, and it makes it more possible for people with like good collections to go like, hey, come work some of my land because I can beat the boss and you can join me when I go to fight it if you're working my land, as opposed to working some random land with, possibly nobody there that can really bring a good amount of cards to that boss battle. So that's stuff that I thought was kind of interesting. The other alpha I got, and I don't know if you guys heard this, but it sounds like they're going to make vouchers a lot better than they are today. That they really want to make them better for. When I heard discounted energy for vouchers, that really ticked a box for me, because maybe you guys haven't been doing this, but I probably spent about 70,000 DEC in the last 2 seasons buying energy, because there'll be days where I'll have a bad day and I'll be like, oh my God, okay. And I'll go buy 10 or 15 energy and be like, I gotta get it back. I gotta get back into champion. So I get champion checks the next day. And so I'll sit down and I'll grind it out. And it usually works. I'll go on a winning streak, mostly because I just went on a terrible losing streak. So now it's flipped and I'm getting 30-point wins instead of 10-point wins. But that is there, and I can see myself consistently spending more now that I have to manually play and I'm trying to compete to get into Champion 1. So if they start using, I could see more people being willing to do that if vouchers become a discount for that. And they were also talking about vouchers being a discount anywhere the DEC gets burned. That means bloodstones, that means power stones, energy. Where else do we burn DEC within the game?
Guild buildings, although I really don't want them to add it there.
Yeah, they might not add it there because you're not really burning DEC, you're spending guild power, so it's not the same thing. So
well,
I
also
could see
a lot
them
of people have
excluding
spent
that.
like a lot of people have spent like a million DEC on like upgrading a building. Now if you can get it for 500,000 and some vouchers, I feel like people will be upset.
I spent only for energy only for my bronze out.
Yeah, same.
Cheap.
Well, here's a question for you though, Steve. What are you doing with your vouchers now?
Oh, I go into the SPS voucher liquidity pool because it's got like a 40% APR. I just park them there until
the Hive.
Hive, not Hive. Hive voucher. So basically, I sell half of them into Hive, and then I go into that liquidity pool, and then I earn the SPS, and then every once in a while, I do an SPS to voucher trade to. like an SPS to Hive, SPS to Voucher to kind of replenish maybe if I'm losing some in there. But like one of the things that I've noticed within the game, it's kind of weird, but I've never really sold very much SPS. I mean, I've swapped a little bit into DEC here and there, and I've sold some when we had to buy something in SPS. But I got up to 500,000. I kind of feel like I have a modern, like I have a what would legitimately be very close to a maximum deck in the game. I have a beta forward. I don't have all of alpha, but I got a little bit of it. And what they've shown me is they airdrop me enough SPS to be self-sufficient in the game at champion level. Because by the time we needed 400,000, I had 400,000. And by the time we got to each one of the sales, I had enough vouchers to do a full discount. I had enough of this to do a full discount. So while some people are like, say they really overprint them, and I know that you think they do that, I think the real problem is that we're just in such a bear market that people just aren't buying everything that they're offering with them, because every time that they've come out with something like promo wise, I end up buying it and it usually taps me out on vouchers.
Yeah, well, I mean, so just to go back to that real quick, you're currently a net seller of them, right? Because you get it and then you sell a half in order to throw them into the liquidity pool. So that downward,
kind of though, because when I need them, I have to usually come out and be a net buyer and buy it back.
But you don't just pull it out.
I have to pull the LP out, and I usually have to use the Hive to rebuy. So I know what you're saying, but
okay, but like you're a net buyer only when there's like an event or something going on. So my point is that this is actually going to be a good thing, right? Because you're a perfect example of the fact that like if all of a sudden energy has this gives vouchers utility, you're not going to be selling half of it to put into the LP, which is not a bad thing. I'm not trying to say you're doing anything bad, right? I'm just saying that you're going to stop that because you would actually have utility for the voucher. So all of a sudden, if you're doing that, and Darkest Night buys a lot of energy, and a bunch of other people buy a lot of energy, and everybody's using vouchers for that, well, hey, all of a sudden, now there's less sell pressure on vouchers. That's just coming from people naturally reinvesting in the game, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and I like, that's the one thing I heard them say that I thought was kind of interesting, just how much focus there was on making it better. And sorry, I know you were going to say something, Bebeomega.
No, it's okay. I was just going to ask Aftersound who was the one that was buying his vouchers. Was it Alex? Was it somebody else?
It was. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people buying vouchers. Alex Bernard, I think.
You were mentioning him all the time. Like, thank you for buying my vouchers. And
well, there are people. I think Alex, State of Survival. There's a couple others who are they always say like, oh, vouchers are such a deal right now. But they've been saying that ever since vouchers were at 7 cents. And so it's just like it's like, oh, vouchers are 7 cents, they're such a deal. Oh, vouchers are at 5 cents, they're such a deal. I sell like a good portion of my vouchers every day, right?
It's the same thing with SPS though. People were saying SPS is the awesome price now because it was so much higher and it will go so much higher. And yeah, I'm just letting my vouchers accrue, just accumulating little by little. And if one day, because again, it was mentioned in Town Square today that the idea that they want is to be like the cool kids thing. It was mentioned again. And I'm sure they'll come up with ways to make them valuable at some point. I'm not saying it's a good investment because I don't know. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to have something if it becomes a way to gate cool stuff in a way. It would be nice to have some accumulated, I'm thinking. And I do understand that you need your ice cream because, you know, all the heat in Texas and whatnot. but I mean, yeah, I'm at the point that I'm just accumulating, hoping to one day something pop.
And something will. At some point, Rebellion is going to come out, right? And I think we'll see a resurgence for vouchers there. But my hope is that they clean up some of the supply well before that, right? Because
I think they will. Because if they come with something that people are thinking now, it's like oversaturated that there is so many vouchers. But if they come with something cool, they can really overnight burn all the vouchers. Like it's not impossible.
That's the thing. They need something good. And to Steve's point earlier, like they had all these syncs, but here's what's happening now, right? There's there was 1.5, like a little bit more than 1.5 million tower defense packs. You needed a voucher to buy it, right? There's 2 million Rift Watchers packs. You needed a voucher to buy. That's over 3 million vouchers right there, almost 3.5 million. But now there's no more tower defense packs for sale. We don't know what's going on with that. And we're probably going to burn like over a million or maybe 1.5 million of these Rift Watcher packs because nobody's really buying them right now.
Yeah, I actually feel like the tower defense sale is one of the worst executions the team has done in a while. The whole idea of $3 vouchers for $8 packs for packs of cards that we didn't know how many towers were going to be in them necessary. Yeah. We didn't know how many were going to be needed to power up. The rewards pool is relatively small compared to the rewards pool for the rest of the, for the other rewards pools that are out there. So it was asking, I feel like that didn't work because those packs were too expensive. If they would have been like $5 packs with $3 off with a voucher so you could get them for $2, then we probably would have tore through a lot of vouchers. Rift Watchers, I was okay that you just needed a vouchers and access to get them. I felt like that was kind of okay. That set, maybe 3 million packs was too many because it was such a little set. I know I bought like 2,000 packs and I got a max of every card by doing that. And so it's like I didn't need any more. And so once I didn't need any more, I like my wholesale group, we all like pretty much got our cards to the level we wanted to. So there was no demand of anybody wanting to buy anymore. So it's really just people who didn't get into them. It's gonna be an interesting thing. So first, I want to give you wanted to give you an epic performance at the Luxor, going back to Splinterfest, a little love, and then we'll sit up here. We got Super saying he's got about 5K vouchers, which is a lot more than I probably have, selling my half. And then Tails is coming in with the salt on us.
Bringing the salt.
Wait, I went too far down the chat, but he threw up let me go to the first comment. So it's not showing, but I'll read it to you. So he's saying if the priority is to get the flywheel started in DEC to peg, then adding vouchers to the mix doesn't make sense at the moment. Too many tokens are overpriced, and you need value to fix that. You're diluting the focus, and he's saying do skins for vouchers. Don't like discount the DEC sync. I'll just say to that, I understand his point, but if I was willing to spend 70,000 DEC on energy, I'd probably still spend 70,000 DEC on energy. If it just meant I got double the energy or maybe a third more energy, that would just make me happier, and it probably would make me more likely to do it more often, in my opinion, because right now I'm kind of like, every time I do it, I'm like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this because I need more DEC for land. But yeah, I do understand his points.
I actually agree with Tails. I was thinking about this earlier today, just because I don't like the idea of like diluting focus either. So sure, energy's fine because to a certain extent, like energy is something that you can buy almost. I mean, you could buy it every day if you wanted to, but there were other things that I was like, stop taking the focus away from DEC. Let the DEC burns be there. But somebody mentioned on the town square something like re-rolling your focus, right? Like if it costs a voucher to re-roll your focus, like stuff like that. That should only be vouchers then, right? Don't dilute it with DEC. But I don't know. I feel like they're just going to continue going down that road because vouchers are just kind of there.
Yeah, they have to find use for them because they invented them. So I don't mind things like that. And sometimes to get people to do things, you need a discount. Like I feel like if you discounted energy, you'd see more usage. And so your net burn on DEC would be close to the same, if not more. I don't think the team at this point has the opinion that they need to do a lot more than land to get DEC to peg. And that could be an improper thing to think, but clearly we're about, 3 billion DEC short of what you would need to deploy onto land at high levels. And I think they're just counting on that getting us to peg, because even if we only go 20 or 30 or 40% of land deployed, that's going to chew up a whole lot of DEC, and it should get us a lot closer to peg. I always kind of wonder, like, The one thing I want to see though, the only thing that I find disingenuous, they haven't changed that stupid leaderboard prize. And those guys who are winning that, they have such big collections. They've got to be taking that probably as ice cream money and just dumping it.
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
see a lot. Maybe a few of them are big landholders, and so they're just enjoying free. But that's also kind of dumping because now they don't have to go buy as much DEC as they would.
I mean, we're minting 180 million DEC per year. Like that's just it's really not acceptable. And part of me wants to throw together a proposal that says like just turn off leaderboard rewards for now. Like if you're so focused on getting DEC to peg, let's stop shooting ourselves in the foot every 15 days.
Yeah,
But
to me, like, why wouldn't the leaderboard just be like an extra 50 a season end chest for whatever one you're in, for each one of those people? Because then, sure, they're going to get a couple extra soulbound cards. They might get a couple extra packs, a little bit more SPS dilution in what goes out to the pools. But I mean, that to me is a much better leaderboard reward, and it would still be something people would compete for. They wouldn't compete as hard for it, but it still would be cool to have those chances to get those extra chests. And to me, that would be an easy, like, should be an easy swap out. I don't know for sure, but the champion chests aren't something new. So you just, the chests aren't new. You just have to create a way to give them out for those positions instead.
But before we go there, because we were talking about earlier about the vouchers and about the town square, what was said, I was going to say that it was just an answer to a question that somebody asked. They never said it's a priority. They never said they're going to put it out like in the next 2, 3, 5 months. They said, yeah, they have this idea, and one day it will happen. As in, they're planning stuff for giving vouchers, some utility down the road. But it's not like they're planning to dilute anything or to shift their attention anyways. So it wasn't something they were trying to bring as a discussion. They were just answering a question. So I think it's not a fair view to say like, just focus on this, don't deal with that, because they're not dealing with that. They just said, yeah, we have it in mind. Since you're asking, we have it in mind, but I don't think it's something that will come anytime soon. And when it comes to the leaderboards, I really, because when you presented 180 million per year, that sounds a lot, but I don't think it's really that much of a problem. And I know that there will be a lot of pushback if they go that way. Like, I do understand that people want, when they invest, like buying energy and stuff like that, to compete for leaderboards, because I don't think you can do it without buying energy. They invest some money, they want something liquid in return. And I don't think it's a good idea to alienate players that actually fighting for leaderboards and tell them like, we're going to leave because now we're not even getting anything that is liquid for that is worth it our time. I just don't see it as the big problem as I have heard some people think it is. I don't think the amount is that significant, and over 1 year it's a long time to put it. Like, how much is per season, how much is per month? Like, I don't think if you put it that way, I don't think it will sound that scary.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it wouldn't pass, right? But it's just
I don't know. I think it would pass. I think it does, because it's incentivizing. In my mind, you're incentivizing the wrong kind of thing for the overall ecosystem. I don't want good players to stay in silver and fight for a leaderboard. I want them to upgrade their cards and go to gold, and then upgrade their cards again and go into diamond, and then start to compete near the top of the league to get good rewards and to get more SPS and to get more multiples of soulbound cards. We know soulbound cards are going to be unlockable. Because they're going to be unlockable, they're going to have an interesting floor, because it's the way that most of us can save up multiple gold cards that most people wouldn't in any other way, because they allowed us to use our potions for our chests again. The whole problem with Splinterlands is we have a giant community who just chills in silver and chills in that lower area. And even at like the 10,000-ish accounts, if everybody was leveling up their cards, we wouldn't have that many cards. but we don't have that kind of ecosystem. So I feel like you're like, oh, you're making them. They're going to be, oh, they're not going to fight to get to the top of silver. Fine, go to gold, and then go to diamond, and go get your big rewards up there. Upgrade your cards. Because
Some people
why should
cannot
we be
afford it,
giving all
man.
these people who don't invest more in their cards these big payouts that
But
they
some
can earn
people
down the
cannot afford to move up, and the people that are actually fighting for the leaderboard, I mean, now maybe they get it easy because of the cheap rents, but that will change when land comes out. So maybe it won't be that much of a cheap rent anymore, and then they need to have like literally every single card out there at the silver or at the gold level, wherever they're staying, just to be able to be competitive. And you're saying the soulbound rewards, yes, there's that's something they're missing on pursuing their ice cream money now, because down the road, though, with that quality the soulbound cards have, I think that they'll be very expensive and very valuable. So they're missing on that. It's a missed opportunity fighting for their $40 per season in DEC. So they're making a decision, but as I said, not everybody can afford to go to gold, to go to diamond, because every jump, the further you go, it becomes more and more steep. The curve, like, is becoming exponentially more expensive.
Like
So
gold, yeah, gold is 2 times the cost to play in than silver, and then diamond plus is another 2 times the cost.
yeah,
Yeah, but
so
the thing, too much, too like very much for me. Too often, people try to placate the low revenue players within the ecosystem, and underestimate that is not the people you should be focusing on. I'm not saying I want to make them quit, but I'm saying I don't need to incentivize them to stay in silver. If they want to play and they want to play in silver and they're low income, this game has other ways for them to be helped. They can be doing the share your battle post, they can be doing the social media post, they can still be earning SPS, they can still be pulling packs occasionally. There are ways to earn easily about like $15 a week playing this game if you're doing just those minor things without leaderboard rewards. So the only thing you're taking it away from maybe is a little bit of DEC burn, but DEC burn in silver is low anyways, right? What is it for energy in DEC, like in silver? 150 or something? 200 max?
Silver, it's
Yeah.
low.
Yeah, it's
well, it's
low.
not much, but I mean, if many
So
people are doing it, it's still like every little bit counts. Even the ones in bronze, it's just one DC. But I mean, if you have enough players that are actually doing it, it can compound quickly, man. I mean, I know when you the funny thing about numbers is it depends how you present them. They give totally different vibe. Just as I said with the leaderboard, if you present them how much it's printed per year, it sounds like this huge number. But then if you say like how much is printed per season or per month, then I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not really that much. And the point is, it will be something that will drive players that play every single day for whatever reason, play constantly. You drive them away because you're taking their carrot. You're leaving the stick with no carrot, and I don't know if it's worth the amount of DC that will be reduced printing. I'm just saying my point. I'm not saying that I'm right, but that's how I see. I see just it's not the biggest problem, and if everything else falls, nobody will even pay attention to some 180 million DEC per year, in my opinion.
well, but the thing is, if the flywheel doesn't get going, if we don't get DEC to peg and you don't start to burn SPS and you don't increase the price of SPS by making it a more of a deflationary token, at least, like, not, because it starts to deflate because we're not an infinitely inflatable coin, right? We have a cap. So when you start shrinking that cap, that's when we get our exponential growth. That's when the ecosystem gets strong. That's when everything these guys already own starts to become worth a lot. So they're looking at it the wrong way. And I can tell you that right now we got super shimp don't know if I'm saying right. He's out there in the chat going, "Look, I put $1,000 into it. I'm still stuck in silver. I still have holes in my deck, and I completely understand that everyone can be struggling, and it can be hard to be putting money into the game. But I I I I, I would like to know if he's winning leaderboard rewards, because if he has holes in his silver deck, I doubt he's winning leaderboard rewards. But maybe he is. He can let me know. But overall, it still is driven to the fact that if if we don't if the flywheel doesn't go, we're never going to see this game blow up to the kind of levels we want to see. And if we don't get rid of the DEC, it's not going to ever happen. And while you don't think that that's that adding the much, it's the only place it's coming from. And you know, DEC, it's supposed to not be able to be made any other way than burning SPS to make the SPS flywheel work. And yet we still have this way for it to come into the ecosystem, and I don't understand why they're not cleaning that up.
I mean, Bebeomega, if we gave it something else, right? Again, Steve was talking about different things that we could do, maybe packs, maybe whatever. Like, I don't want to necessarily disincentivize people, because I actually agree with you on that part, right? I mean, people are going to play at whatever levels, and actually, I think to a certain extent, we do like what Splinterlands really lacks is the casual player, right? There's no space really for a casual player because we haven't really incentivized it, and we've only been, it's been like a less than a month that we've had bronze that's human only, for example, right? Without all the bots just beating everybody down. But my hope is that at some point in the future, we could get, I don't know, 50, 100,000 people that play in bronze that aren't really playing for the rewards necessarily, but just because they like the game, right? They come in, they like the meta. They don't even do their 24 battles a day, but they like collecting the cards. They want to be part of the ecosystem and all that fun stuff, right? So I think that there should be some kind of, well, I don't know, there should be some kind of incentive at the lower levels. I just don't, to Steve's point, and what we were talking about earlier, I think the 180 million is still significantly high. Now, maybe in the context, like once land is out and once all these other, burn mechanisms are in place, then we won't feel it as much. But it kind of takes away from the principle of like, if burning SPS is the only place we're supposed to get DEC from, then we should just really remove everything else, right? We got rid of the LPs almost a year ago. My hope is that we can get rid of these by the end of the year. But I think part of the reason that the team hasn't focused on this, well, one is land, but also it sounds like they probably want to do a whole revamp to ranked at some point. And that would include like putting in some kind of like better leaderboards at the end, and potentially leaderboard prizes.
Yeah, the thing I worry about, we've seen this in the past where they know there's a problem and it gets ignored for weeks. And it's kind of funny because, like, you might not think it's a lot, but I just feel like that a lot of that gets dumped. And so it's downward pressure on DEC. And at this point in the game, especially going into land, DEC you would think would only be going up, other than when it loses some value because it happens to be pegged against coins that lose value. But that's not what we're seeing. We're still seeing it go up and down. We're still seeing people trade it. We're still seeing people have money and be willing to just dump it and exit the ecosystem with that money. And so I don't see why it should be there. I really don't anymore. And I win it sometimes. Okay, I finished, 45th, 47th. I finished, I think, 42nd once recently. It's like 20,000 DEC a couple times. And it was cool. It hit my account. But I was like, I don't know. It was just like, it's not enough to make a big deal, in my opinion, most of the time, unless you're the top players. And those top players get a lot. It's like 200,000 in champion, I believe, for the leaderboard positions.
Here, I was just messing with some numbers, right? So when you look at how much DEC is printed, and I'm even going to value DEC at its below peg value, right? At 80% of value, which is like, it's $12,000 worth of value every 2 weeks that's getting printed for DEC. But more importantly, it's $12,000 of value that's not getting burned for SPS. So every 12,000 days, we could be burning almost 700,000 SPS for the DEC that's printed. And over the course of an entire year, and again, this is with SPS at 1.8 cents, but over the course of an entire year, that would be burning 16 million SPS. So maybe that's not the biggest
Yeah,
amount, but at the same time, it's like it's not insignificant in my opinion. So
and like
Depends
when
what the
you
price you have to pay for that. I mean, depends how many real players. I mean, players that play every day, plenty of battles a day. You have to cut ties with. You have to lose.
But I mean, like, look here. Except for the guys that are finishing first and second here, and even third, you're talking like $6 in rewards. I mean, if you gave this guy, if you gave the top guy and you gave them like an extra 100 champion chest, I mean that's fun to open. It's engaging. It's content for content producers that make leaderboards. It's fun tweets. Look at these extra 100 chests I earned. This is just DEC that hits your account, and if you're not reinvesting into the game, because my goal here, if I'm one of these guys, is like, well, I got my bronze modern deck maxed out. This is just my money I won, so I'm cashing it out. And they're just dumping. And it just gets worse as you go up. The numbers just get bigger. And
Don't forget. Don't forget.
UA's been playing in silver for 2 years, dude, and he's a great player. He's been pulling down this DEC. He's not buying cards. That's just money, and it's not that I have anything against anybody who wants to play for the leaderboards. They can still play for him. It can make them famous. Like UA's pretty famous. Bobcat. These guys should be. Like Shapoon. This should be about fame of being one of the best players. These rewards are not big enough in my mind to where people are going to cry about this. As long as you replace it with something. And these just have to go away. And then when you get up here, it just gets kind of silly because then these numbers are huge. And the thing about, too, some of these guys, they don't even play that much. Because they just, like, get their rating up to a level that no one else can get to, and then they just sit there. So it's not like
But if
up
you
here at Champion, the biggest rewards, these people aren't even actively playing at the end of the season most of the time. I mean, look at this account here. This guy's only played 74 games, and he's sitting in 4th place. And the reason he's doing that is because he just wants to make sure that he sucks down this DEC. And this is not healthy or good for the game, in my opinion. It's just not.
well, I mean, I would like to see an end of season tournament or something like that, like head to head tournament, just to make people work for it a little bit more. But granted, he probably wouldn't have to play another game just to be able to enter the tournament. So I guess that doesn't really solve that problem.
I want, yeah, because this is not a topic that we will come to any agreement today. But since it's not very often that I'm salty, I wanted to ask you about something that I'm salty about, the changes for the taxes. How do you guys feel about it? I mean, I want to hear from somebody that actually owns Keep instead of Castle.
You want to go first? Are you?
Sorry, can you say that
You,
again?
you own a keep. He's asking if you're salty that you're getting taxed by the castle.
Oh, here's the thing. Logically, sure, it makes sense. I think it's just one of those things that's annoying because it's like added in later as an after the fact. But I mean, he's not wrong. The keeps would be paying something. It's just once again, it's just like all these like changes coming in. So I'm not going to disagree with it, but I find it annoying. Is it?
Yeah,
But he's wrong.
I kind of feel like I agree that in my mind the lords pay the king, because the king is kind of what ends up giving the lords their authority to collect from the people under them. So there is historically a kickback like that. It doesn't bug me at all because it's such a low percentage anyways.
That's not
in fact, the whole tax ecosystem of keeps and castles to me is not really exciting. It's not really what keeps and castles are going to be important for in my mind in the long term of the game. So I just don't care that much. Because it's kind of weird because it's always been kind of a weird system because all it really is a refund on your taxes to yourself if you own a keep in a track for me and you, because we own full tracks, right? So we were going to get a 5% discount on our taxes. Now we're going to get a 4.5% discount.
Well, see, but think, no, first of all,
but
he mentioned, sorry, Aftersound. First of all, he mentioned that that's not coming from the keeps now. I guess there was enough pushback, but I'll get to that. But the thing that you said about the lords and stuff like that, see, yeah, the lord collects the taxes in his territory, and then out of what he collects, he pays the king. Okay, I agree, but king doesn't collect from those same people as well.
Yeah, yeah.
If the castles are taking from every single plot in
Oh.
their region, why would they
Yeah,
have to double tax
it's
the
a double
keeps?
it's a double taxation
Yeah,
on the plots.
and it
Yeah.
makes
Okay, I
no
didn't
sense.
think about it that way. But they said in the chat that they're not going to do it anymore.
No, they said that it's not coming actually from the amount that the keeps, but it comes from the burn amount.
Well, yeah, I
So
thought it always worked like that. So they burn 10%, but the keep can grab 5% ish of what gets burned on the tract, and then the castle can catch 2% of everything else.
And that's
So
why I
but
was
the,
wondering if it's not like if they were trying to buff the castles without nerfing keeps, why didn't they just increase it from like 2 to 2.5% or 3%?
but it seems like that anyway they're not nerfing the keeps because it's coming from the amount that is going to be burnt anyways. They're not reducing what the keep is getting
That wasn't
like
my
last
understanding
year.
though.
That's in land. That all conversations in land that Farpetrat is
Oh,
participating.
okay.
He made sure.
Was that today? Because then I haven't caught up. So
Yeah, he made sure to mention that it's actually not from the keep stacks that he's getting these percentages. It's from the one that is supposed to be burned. But still, it's a new thing. Although he's trying to present it as if it was always the intention. Because I remember when he initially said about that, he was saying, and that's why the keep owners will be incentivized to help Castle with the upgrades so they can pay lower taxes. So if it's not coming from the keep's profit, why would they care about how high or how low the tax is? So I think it was initially meant to be, as you've understood it as well, from the keep's income. But now, at least that's a shift that was made. I believe that it's coming now from the leftovers, whatever is about to be burned from that.
okay, so you think it's going to be what Aftersound is saying? Basically, they're going up to 2.5% of the burn, or
In,
they're getting a 1.5 out of what I don't end up getting my rebates on. I never really looked at the tax as a big incentive for the castles. I always and keeps. I always thought the cool thing about it was their rarity and their eventual involvement in 2.0, because they're going to do more. They're going to
I
be
know,
more involved at that point. Like
but
I'd
it's
imagine they might be involved in whatever the boss fight stuff is. Maybe you have to set out from a keep or a castle, so the person who owns it gets to lead that party and gets more of the rewards. They could do all kinds of different things. They've talked about the trading that's going to be done like anytime anybody wants to move. It's kind of interesting though, because like a lot of the benefits they say in the keeps and castles, it's almost like I've thought about selling my
yeah,
keeps, which is
it's
kind of
for
crazy.
Aftersound that has only three
oh, and three
plots in.
plots.
Well, no, having Aftersound having it, it's actually amazing because you only have three,
Yeah,
right? So now all of a
yeah,
sudden you're taxing 100, but I
exactly.
have 200 lands. I'm only taxing myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's almost like, you know what? I could just sell those to somebody else, get a whole bunch of money for them, and it would like almost do nothing to my ability to play the game and produce it in 1.5. The only reason I'm not doing that is because I'm positive they're going to have other functionality later
Yeah.
on, and then they'll be super expensive, so I'd have to try to rebuy them, because right now it's such a silly little thing, because it's like I'm earning 90% of what I'm going to earn, and then I get 5% back on that tract, and it's
In your
just kind of
position, if
weird.
you yeah, in your position, if you own the entire tract or you own the entire region, like castles and keeps should be the least focused, right? Because it's like you said, there's a cap in terms of how much you can get back. At the end of the day, you are going to produce X amount and you're going to get 90% of that, right? You're going to get 90% of that before the taxes come in. Whatever extra production you have, then put it on your castles or your keeps to try and get that remaining, 5%, 2%, 7%, whatever it is that you get if you own the entire region, for example. But at the end of the day, like if you have like large production producers, I would be putting that on all of your like legendary occupied, legendary magical plots, things like that.
Yeah, I've had that realization in the last couple of days. The only thing I'm going to try to figure out over time, once somebody gives that magic number to have a pretty good chance to find a fragment, I want to have that much production points on my keeps. Because I'm
Mhm.
sure there's going to be a number that you get at that gets that percentages up to a point where it starts to tick off more. Because I think finding those it's gonna be kind of big, right? Because they can only be found. No more can be issued or sold by the game or crafted. They can only be found. So I don't think you want to completely ignore your keeps and only put like 5,000 PP in there, because then you're probably not going to find them very often.
Yeah, but what's 0.3% also is like how likely even with the keep is that you're going to find if that's your soul. Because I was also in the same opinion that I should keep some cards in my keep just for the chance for the increased chance of totem fragments. But then really how often would you even find them, and is it worth it? Because those cards that you put there on another plot will probably earn you way more, is my unless you already have all the plots working, and yeah, then it makes sense that whatever you can capture.
Well, but if you're going to let people land surf, you want to leave maybe. Like, I think a new theory that I'm throwing by a lot of the bigger landowners is to leave 10 or 20% of your land open and
Oh,
hope
then it
that
will
you
be,
can
yeah,
bring
then it
in
will be,
surfers.
yeah. If that goes live and if it's success, like people actually do land surfing, then the whole keep will make much more sense for people like me that are not planning to utilize everything from the beginning. But yeah, it was more of a more of a thing like it was in the white paper. Matt, when explaining the castles and keeps, was saying even though it seems like the castles are not getting as much, he explains why they're actually getting more. So it's like Far said that it was not like it was something that was overlooked. I don't think it was overlooked. I think Matt was calculating it all in, and I said that he gave him the green light, but I'm just thinking it was something that was not really needed. It's
Mhm.
not something that is game breaking or whatever. It's not something that I can feel much worse about. But it's still like instead of focusing on let's wrap it up, like let's finish the code and everything. They just like what else can we add to make castles more valuable, as if they're not already.
That's what you
Yeah,
feel.
well, yeah, it felt like actually, I think they even admitted on the call that they got to the point where they needed to code that number in, and we're like, hey, wait a minute. Should we make this number a little bit bigger? Which is kind of funny to think. Um, what do you think? I'd like both of your opinions on this. Do you think we're going to have a dip in land prices maybe about a month after land gets going? Because I'm starting to have that thought. Because I think this is going to be a lot more competitive game than people think. I think that there's going to be some whales that whale up on the occupied lands. SPS returns are going to be smaller than people imagine. It's going to be harder for people with 3-4 plots to really earn very much in the game. There's not going to be any grain market. They're going to see that they're barely even netting any extra grain if they're going like 3 grain and 1 SPS if they only own 4, or because they can't go 2 and 2 because otherwise they have to buy grain because of the 10% tax on the grain puts them slightly under what they need to feed the 2 plots, and they're gonna think it's a headache, and they're just going to be dumping those smaller number of lands. Um, and if at that point either of you would think about growing your collection because you want to be a bigger player in the land. And I know this kind of applies more to you, Aftersound, because you only have what, 3, I
Yeah,
think.
3 plots.
So do
I'll
you
let
do
I'll let
you
Papa
do
Bear
you
answer
want
first.
more if they got
Yeah,
cheap?
I'll let Papa Bear answer first so we can finish the topic on a positive note. So go ahead, Aftersound.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I would, of course, I would love to have more land. I mean, the hope is that no matter what happens, whether market goes up or down, I'd like to take whatever earnings I get from land, right? And thankfully, the keep should provide something significant, um, and or not significant, but at least consistent. and take that and then turn that around and buy more within, you know, the same region that I'm in over time. Just continue to add to it. And if I don't, maybe I don't necessarily buy more land right away, but it's like, oh well, hey, now I can buy, you know, let me grab another BCX of this gold for a legendary to, you know, max out this specific plot or something. But yeah, I'd like to get more land. To your point, do I think that we're going to see a dip afterwards? I think we're just going to see waves. So there's probably going to be a little bit of a hype wave. I think we're going to see pretty significant, you know, APR returns for SPS early on, especially if the team can give us some kind of reason to go for research, just because that's going to lower the reward pool overall. And I don't think that we're going to be anywhere close to, we're not going to be anywhere close to like, you know, 100% utilization for land. Um, but yeah, we'll probably see a dip. My hope is that when we do dip, it's not lower than where we're at right now. But I do expect it to be an ebb and flow. But the cool thing that I'm expecting or hoping or optimistic about is it sounds like between 1.5 and 2.0, it's going to be iterative. So they already have like a 1.6 release that they're planning and trying to include certain things. I'm hoping that there'll be like a 1.7, a 1.8, a 1.9, just so that we don't go another like 4, 6, 8, 9 months, however long between the launch of this and the launch of 2.0. So if they can keep land fresh over time, I think that'll be helpful so that the ebbs and flows aren't too high and too low.
In my opinion, if you want to hear it as well,
Please.
is I think that people that were in selling mode, like that wanted to get rid of some of their land for whatever reason, I think most of them have sold whatever they needed to sell, and a lot of people were waiting, like thinking they have enough time to get enough land before 1.5 is out, but it seems like I'm thinking that there is demand still, and if there was still dumps to be made, it will be just savored by the market. And I think once actually people see land out, something will, like, they'll start feeling the hype. Like, even if they're ignoring it because it feels like now every time we get excited, we get a cold shower, and it's not a good feeling. So once it actually does come out, I'm thinking there'll be a wave of excitement that probably, in my opinion, even will push the price a little higher, and then probably to be stable because people are realizing that this 1.5 is temporary, and when actually the 2.0 is coming, there will be so much to be done on land. And I'm thinking with every single town hall, town square, whatever it is, every single time they hear about land and what is in the future plans, there will be more and more realization that every single plot, even the most common tundra or caldera or whatever it is, will have some huge, hopefully, utility in the future. And it's like whoever sees the big picture will be scooping cheap plots if there are some, and I think that will keep the price. So I personally am not expecting any drop in the prices. Even on contrary, I'm expecting a little bit higher ceiling once it's out because people can actually see it in action.
Yeah, and the reason why I have this thought, and I did this math the other day on my video, is because when you look at an account like mine, my account's decent, right? I've got some pretty big PP cards, so I could easily go 15,000 plus 12,500 plus 12,500 plus 12,500 again. So 1, 2, 3 plus 11,000 is my next one. And I can put this on, I have some with a Rooney, so I get an extra 10,000 from the Rooney. Then I double that because of the Rooney. Then I take another 1.5 on that because it's on because I have a totem, and then I then because it's occupied, it doubles again. I forgot about that. And so, like, easily, I can end up with 400, 500,000 PP on one
I,
plot of SPS land.
I don't know if it works like that. I mean, it's probably going to be a 2x, not of that, but a 2x of the original 73.
It's you do your base PP and then you add up all your multipliers. So I shouldn't have done it the way I did it. You're right. So, but for the bad example, for the one example for the whales, they can 100,000 a plot with 2 gold foil alphas, right? And that's the max. Thank goodness we passed that rule. But they can easily do you double it once because it's occupied. You double it again because you put a Rooney. You double it again because you put a legendary totem if you're a whale. And then if you are a legendary land, you can double it 4 times. And then a title, 450. So 4.5. So the theoretical max they can do is about 450,000. My max, I think when I did it the right math, it was like 280. Mm-hmm. And so this is what I think is what's going to make it so hard for people, because if you've got people doing this on those lands and there's literally, I don't know, maybe 20 lands like that, and then you go with your, I don't know, what's a decent, what's the most PP you think you're going to get on a land?
Well, I mean, imagine somebody just throwing a bunch of commons on. How much is that?
Well, like it's 1,000. Like if you do max level commons,
yeah, so that's 5,000.
It's 5,000, right? So now you're 5,000 over 9 million on your share of that SPS drop.
Yeah, it's not gonna be much.
It's almost nothing, and so this is why I think some people are going to get disillusioned, because I think in their mind, I'm going to get an insane return on SPS because not that many people are going to be farming SPS compared to it just getting airdropped to all the land. And I know Tails has made that argument. Other people have made that argument, but it's a pie grid of PP. And if some of those whales whale out and they go 400,000 or even high 200,000s on those, and I'm planning on putting about 200,000 on each of my 6 occupieds to add up to 1 million PP for myself. Mm-hmm. And if you can't play that game because you've only got, I don't know, 6 regular lands, maybe 1 occupied, and only maybe even somebody who can throw like 20,000 PP, which is still kind of impressive if you've got newer cards. That would still be pretty good new cards. Your number is just going to be so small in that whatever that maximum PP towards SPS is going to be, that your return is going to be so much smaller than you expected. And on the flip side, the whales are going to love it way more than people are giving them credit for, because they're going to take all of it.
Yeah, well, they're going to get a much bigger share than they get right now. Like I would make the argument, I don't know, you have 2 tracks, right, Steve? So like yes. There's a chance that you earn more SPS from those 6 plots once 1.5 goes live than how much you're earning right now with the average of 1.3 SPS per plot. You know what I mean? Like your amount is going to go up significantly just because you have access to those 6 occupied plots. But this just kind of goes to show why 1.5 is really just supposed to be a stopgap solution, right? There's 3 resources, one of which we know nothing about, that has no monetary value. The other one, which does have monetary value, but you can't trade it until 1.6 or 1.7. So it's not going to be as complicated of an ecosystem. And to your point, yeah, people are going to get disillusioned because they think that they can get some value from it, but they're going to end up overworking. But when 2.0 comes out and there's 50 different resources to go for, a lot of people will choose to go for those resources, hopefully because they want to see what those resources can do in game for them, or maybe that, those resources, that they have one of the best plots for those resources and therefore they own the scarcity, versus going straight and only for SPS.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to be doing a lot of research. I'm only really going to take those 6 occupied and really get them really high for my SPS to see if I can pull down a pretty good return on them. Mm-hmm. My legendaries are naturals. Unfortunately, I didn't get any luckily magical legendary or occupied legendaries. So I'm just gonna turn those into pretty good grain repositories to get a lot of extra grain for my
Yeah.
overall 2 tracks. So, that's kind of my plan. And then eventually I'll move around my monsters if I want to go, as I see fit, maybe bounce my Roonies around from plot to plot if I want to change what I'm focusing on. And I have no problem with playing the long game in land because I know that you want to get ready for land 1.5. I'm just hoping that the smaller holders don't give up. But if they do, I'm hoping I somehow have some money to buy more land. The one thing is, though, I'm in an interesting region because I'm in that region with the guy from Splinter Forge. He has 3 tracks. Tails has a track. Plato has a track. Bulldog has about half a track because he sold about half of his. We used to have Gene Pool, and then but he sold all of his. So, but Woody took a lot of those, so we picked up Woody. So we have a pretty like diehard region. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy much land in there. There's like 3 for sale right now in our entire region.
Yeah. But I mean, how much more land do you need?
I would love to have more, because what I think I'm going to end up doing as someone with 2 tracks and a lot of desert. I think what I'm going to end up doing is producing 2 resources. I have desert and water just because my 2 tracks happen to own about 50% of the river in our region, which is kind of funny. But I have a decent amount of water, decent amount of those, and then everything else I'm hopefully going to be able to earn grain on. But I'm going to have to end up just focusing on those 2 resources. And with being a 2 track holder, I'm not sure I'm going to be a minter of cards. And I originally wanted to be a minter of cards. I might not be able to be one owning 2 tracks, though.
Of course,
I feel like he thinks I will be able to. He thinks I will.
Of course.
But
even
I don't know that I will.
I have only a region, and I can guarantee you that I'll be minting cards.
Only a region, huh?
I mean, a track.
I know you have a track, but
yeah. But yeah, I'm sure. See, yeah, you'll be specializing in stuff which you'll be changing to the stuff that you need in order to mint the cards. On top of that, it won't be only 2 resources, but because you forget from the magical plots, you'll be getting magical resources. From the occupied plots, you'll be getting essences. So all those things will be tradable and probably will have a good value because they'll be kind of rare. And you can just trade whatever you're lacking for a certain thing that you need to produce to get it and mint whatever you need to mint. As long as you have enough resources to actually have something to trade for without putting extra money in, you'll be able to mint. And I mean, I guess we'll see. I don't think you believe me because I have told you before, and you still think that you won't be able to.
Yeah, but I still think that I'm not a whale. He's shown me that I kind of am with 200 lands, but I still feel like I'm not.
It's not about being a whale. It's about having enough resources, even if it's specialized. Because I also have like 98% of my track is Caldera. So I'm stuck with, I don't know, probably not very very high commodity resource, but also, I don't know, I heard interesting suggestions that maybe, we don't know for sure, that maybe at some point when 2.0 comes, maybe grain will be only harvestable in certain regions. So what you were saying, that people won't be making much SPS, they can focus on stockpiling grain, because that at some point might become super in demand if it turns out that only certain regions can grow grain. Because I mean, in the tundra, I don't know what kind of grain can you grow, or badlands or whatever it is. Some of the terrains really doesn't make sense supporting grain as something that is extractable from them. So we might see that as well. I know it's a speculation, but it's a speculation that kind of makes sense to me, and that will change a lot. So people might be disheartened by the little SPS they're seeing, and they might be, instead of selling, they'll be like, okay, maybe I can focus on what I can collect now, but I can stockpile, like be it grain or be it research, and then at some point that might open some new doors for me. So I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't know if they'd be selling. I'm just, if somebody was smart enough to purchase land, I think they'll be smart enough to realize that the game doesn't end with 1.5 or with the
Yeah.
SPS or with the SPS mining.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's an interesting thing. After, do you think that they would do that? That they are going to let us go from producing grain on any land to only producing grain on good land? Because if so, boy, am I going to have to be playing the grain market. Because look, I have a bunch of deserts and swamps. I do own rivers, but like I have no plains, like literally none. So I don't know which one they would pick. But I would not have a good chance of being able to grow grain if they do that. I literally have like none, which is kind of funny.
But it will make sense though.
It would make sense, but it would also, I don't know. People would probably, I don't know. That would be rough. That would be really rough. It would make, I guess, the grain market more needed,
Yeah.
but I Tails brought that up to me the other day. I jumped on his Splinerlands TV stream for like a half hour, and we were talking land, and he was saying they might do that. And I'm like, man, the alpha of 1.5 might just be to get as much grain as you can
Yeah.
if you want to play this, if you have a lot of land, because if they're gonna do that and make it so that only like maybe some of the areas can produce, then that's going to be rough for some holders. Because like me, if you look at my lands, um, if I go to the list view,
Looks like a lot of desert.
so canyons. Let's see.
Oh,
I think I
canyons
can
too.
sort them. So I have badlands, bogs, calderas, a whole bunch of desert, and then the rivers come in, swamps and tundra. So I don't even
Or
have one
probably your
plain.
rivers. Probably
One
your
no,
rivers will be.
no, yeah, maybe the rivers, but honestly, that doesn't make sense. You can't grow grain in a river if you
Oh
want to
no, but you
say,
have irrigation. You have irrigation,
yeah.
and to maybe even
So
there will be a bonus to harvesting grain on rivers because you have the irrigation set up.
yeah, it would be hard because like I have to admit, like someone like me, if I wasn't able to make them, make it, I would probably be a little bit not confused because I'd be like, well, why can't these areas that are literally right next to the water
Go for it.
grow if you're doing a
Yeah.
logical thing, right? Maybe not the swampland; it's too wet, but these areas. What are these again?
So Virus is saying maybe certain plots will get a bonus, but all of them will still be able to produce it.
Oh, it's possible. I'm just saying that to me, it doesn't make much sense to grow grain in a desert or in a tundra or in a mountain. It just, I don't know. If they go lower, like if
See,
they
I,
stick
I, I
to a
think the
lower,
reason why that is logical in your minds because you're thinking of it as grain, and I think we should just think of it as the food unit. Because sure, you can't grow grain on a mountain, but you can grow some kind of food on a mountain, right? You can't grow grain on a tundra, but maybe you can't grow anything on a tundra. I'll give you that. But the rest of them, there
or
are
a desert,
certain kind of
just
things.
scorpions.
Well, in deserts, you could grow the kind of cactuses that make fruit, right? And then you'd have a product to sell or to feed your workers.
Yeah,
So
good luck on
they're
feeding
they're
yourself on cactuses,
yeah.
man.
I'm not saying cactus fruit would be the best thing to have, but it's a product. Something I could think of off the top of my head. So
Yeah.
um, I'm not positive what you can grow in the desert, but the point is there are crops you can grow in most areas that people would end up living, but not many people live in the tundras or the swamps. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, if there is going to be kind of a food crunch when we get to 2.0 because they revamped that, it's going to be a very interesting things.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, Virus is adding maybe some
Yeah,
get a bonus and some get a destruction.
yeah,
So maybe you get like a -10 or -20% if you're
Yeah.
growing your
deduction.
grain in the tundra. So
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, how much grain can you grow in a desert, right?
yeah,
How many
yeah,
cactuses
yeah.
you grow in the desert?
That's interesting. Vazana thinks that rivers are going to be the best, but that I guess it's because no matter what, when you go to a
That
river,
That's
You have
my
land,
thinking as
right?
well. That's my thinking as well. I'm thinking rivers will be probably most like
So the
the land around rivers is the most fertile land you can get. So it makes sense that they get bonus to grain production or whatever food production because you can also fish if you're going if you're going that way.
let's see who's the one person trying to sell one. There's an epic. Oh no, wait, that's that. No, I always click on the wrong one when I try to click on this map.
You can zoom in, I think.
Can you see that? That's my epic forest. I keep clicking on the epic forest. I'm trying to click on the one above it. There it is. Legendary hero is trying to sell this stuff. Sorry.
Are you going to buy it?
No, no, I'm not buying anything yet.
Live on
I have
street.
to I have to get my DEC numbers higher. I'm up to, let's see,
Oh, look at you. You have almost as much GSC as me.
5.3 million, which only is enough for one track. So if you have more than me, then you're actually more prepared because you're prepared for your full track. I'm only prepared for half of my land.
Well, I mean, I wasn't counting the ones on Hive Engine. I was just seeing,
Oh, oh,
in-game,
you're
in-game you
talking
have
about this one. Yeah.
million, like something.
Yeah, that's the 4 million I made on Hive Engine. So that was a good play.
That those I didn't count. But yeah, again, I'm not planning to get prepared. And yeah, I actually I decided that I'll put $1,000 more. Unfortunately I went again through Coinbase route, and that's the last time I'm using stupid Coinbase. So they'll be holding my crypto for 4 days before I can transfer it. But actually, I'm planning to buy Rift Watcher cards. Planning to buy 250 more, so I can guarantee at least next airdrop gold level legendary. And I'm more and more inclined on spending DC on Rift Watcher packs, man. I mean, I'm thinking those cards at some point, yeah, I think they will be very, very valuable. That's not a financial advice, but I feel like there's such good cards, and with the burning and everything, with the reduced print, I'm just thinking that they might be a good thing to focus on for me. So, not really
So
focusing that much on land.
a little off topic, but Alex is apparently thinking he found an exploit within our game. He said he found out if you don't claim your rewards but keep playing, you will keep getting rewards at the reset rate. Then you can claim and reset it again. I'm not sure I even understand that. Do you understand what he's saying?
Trying to keep playing, keep getting rewards at the reset
Not
rate.
explaining it well.
Yeah,
Although
Alex, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we can understand what you're talking about.
But we do care. It's not like we don't care, man. We don't understand.
He
Yeah,
said. He says, "Yeah,
probably.
I can't explain very well because I know, like when you're battling, and you earn your chest that the clock automatically ticks over, and so if you start playing before you claim, then when you claim, those points go into your next day, right? I mean, I've never actually done it though.
Yeah, I haven't done it neither.
yeah,
So
like where you continue playing even though you haven't claimed yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Aftersound, can you do something about this? I would like to get more cards. This was quite upsetting today. Where are my cards?
What?
I only got 3 chests with cards. I heard you know people. I would like more than a 30% drop rate on 12 chests.
Well, at least you got
Oh,
only
do you want
two
to see
potions.
do you want to see my rewards today?
Did
Nine?
you know?
No, I had 9 diamond chests, okay, for my dailies. 0 cards.
Dude, I know they say they didn't change this, but I don't believe them at all.
I mean,
or that they got
did.
it back to normal. I'm like, no, you nerfed it back.
They
I
did.
mean,
It did
the
say
chan
that
the chances
They
are so
changed
low.
it. They changed it, but he said he put it to where it was supposed to be, and I was like, I don't think so. I don't think so. I was like, I think you nerfed us because this doesn't seem right. Because
Yeah.
champion chests are supposed to drop those cards at a way higher rate, and so are diamond. And he got 0 on 9. I got 3 out of 12.
Also, when's the last time you heard of somebody getting like a 30,000 SPS chest?
I haven't heard. I got
It
a
doesn't happen anymore.
600 today. That was kind of cool.
I think they changed that too. They said that they reduced the
one of these, right?
maximum amount and
Yeah,
made it
I mean
more
they
like
had to, right?
medium along the line.
Oh no, it was yesterday. It was yesterday that I got the big one. But I got one yesterday that was like 598, and then like two that were 70. So that was pretty cool. I have to admit, this has been kind of cool lately. When you come in and you go to claim these for a day, and I'm getting battle rewards of 1,200. I mean, that's pretty wild for me. And then my total rewards are 1,800 a day. So I've been sitting on 5,000 SPS. I've been thinking about selling it for DEC, but then it just, I was hoping it would pump a little bit, but I don't know. It's not going up.
Oh, I mean, you still have time, so you don't need to be in a hurry. The land is not yet out, so you don't need to rush it.
Yeah.
Oh, I have 200 vouchers again. Yeah, this is my only liquidity pool at this point. It's not. I don't have very much in there, but this 45%, it actually makes the vouchers useful, in my opinion. I know we've kept you about it.
It's giving them some kind of. I was saying like it's like one of the few things that's giving vouchers utility, right? I mean, 40% for what you're getting, might as well get something out of it.
What utility? What did I miss? I missed something.
Oh, we were talking about vouchers, like the voucher swap.hive pool pays out 40%.
Oh, okay.
45 it's still at, because there's almost nothing in it, and it's got its own little, rewards pool. It's by far the highest. But it's also the most volatile asset. That's why I don't really buy vouchers to go into it. I just sell half of mine and then throw it into here.
No,
and
that's
then start earning.
Which isn't insignificant. I mean, that's, you're compounding your rewards there. So to your point about Bebeomega about the Rift Watchers packs, that's something I'm watching closely too. I mean, I'm not buying any packs, but looking at the print rates on those cards, especially like a lot of the legendaries, is to me something worth watching, just because I think that there's a strong chance we burn half the set, and there's only 1.5 million Rift Watcher packs. And here's the thing: when you think about Rebellion coming out, Rebellion's probably going to have a ton of cards available to it too. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another 15 million packs there. Chaos, I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where Chaos Legion like fully becomes sold out. So at the end of the day, it's like for the short period of time when Untamed rotates out, it's going to be like Core Lurker and Runemancer Kai. Like those are going to be the new Untamed cards, because if you don't have those fully maxed out, you're going to be out of luck.
And we haven't even seen the last 3 airdrops.
And we haven't seen the last 3 airdrops, yeah. Which could come in at much lower drop rates if we burn a ton of packs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
those ones are going to be really possibly rare and possibly really powerful, because they usually save really good ones for later. So those ones are pretty interesting. Yeah, Rift Watchers are interesting. I think one of the reasons why like nothing else is going up and nothing else is being bought is because I don't know about you guys, but the only thing I'm buying anymore or trying to buy is this stupid thing. And I see right now I need to bring some money in to buy some because it dipped down so low. But I need 5 million more.
Yeah,
like before I can even look at cards, and like trying to figure out where I want to bring $4,000 into the game from is my problem at this point.
Steve, what's your on ramp? Being in Cali, what's your on ramp?
I haven't used an on ramp in years, dude. I've been playing.
But
with
if you have to, you have to from zero.
It was Binance US, so I have to find a new one. I used Binance US for a long time, but now they shut down deposits after they got sued by the SEC. So, because they were the easiest way for me to get in money was to go to Binance US, just buy BNB, move the BNB onto Binance Smart Chain, buy DEC or Hive there, and transfer it in. So usually I would just buy DEC and transfer it in, and then trade on Tribal Decks for anything else I wanted in the Hive ecosystem.
I would probably
But
recommend the MetaMask because I was doing that for a while, and I don't know, for some reason, since they changed whatever they changed with Transact, now when I try to get DC with ETH, it's giving me some ridiculous like $30-40 gas fees, which was not the case. It was like, since it was ETH to ETH transaction, it was like $1-2. And now the other way around is going through tribal decks and depositing your ETH into Hive ETH, or like whatever is swap ETH, and then selling it for Hive to buy DEC. But just advice: don't go through Coinbase.
Why
Talking
not Coinbase?
because I told you I bought it today,
Mm-hmm.
planning to go and buy DEC with it, because with LTC you don't pay gas, so it makes sense. But then they told me, yeah, we got your money. You have your crypto in 4 days.
yeah, they have that anti-money laundering hold on money that you bring in through Coinbase, so you have to leave it there for a couple of days. So
But
I
you
have to
have to be
admit,
this way, and I have my account there for like more than 5 years, and I at some point when I was like using it for a while, they removed any restrictions, and the moment you buy, for example, Ethereum, you will having it straight away in your wallet, and you can do with it whatever. But now for some reason it went back to like, yeah, you have them, but technically you don't until 4 days later. And I'm like, I'm not a new account. I've been a 5 6 year user, heavy user of Coinbase.
Mm-hmm.
But now, yeah, that will be the last time I'm using Coinbase anyways. I will be using the ETH option now that MetaMask have so many options to buy Ethereum. So I was just curious if you have any better on ramp for future.
Well, you could also, well, depending on where you buy it, but you could also use, ETH, Matic, Litecoin, Bitcoin directly into Hive Engine.
Oh yeah, that's how I'm using now the ETH, because as I told you, I don't
Oh,
want to
okay.
pay $35-40 in gas fees for Transact when it was used to be $2-3.
Yeah.
But that way it's more complicated. Like you have to put it into swap whatever, and then you have to sell it, and then you have to use the Hive to buy DC, and every transaction is like you're getting shaved a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah.
So if there was an easier one, I would have liked to know, but I guess for now it is what it is.
That's true. I mean, I know that they have the new TerraBlock partnership, but I haven't even explored that yet, just because I don't like the TerraBlock fees.
Yeah, it will like, I think they were still using TerraBlock before. Now they changed something like to make it like a separate site, and now it came to some ridiculous fees. So I was like, okay, back to tribal decks then.
Yeah.
And
okay,
on
so I understand this exploit that Alex is saying within the game, which is kind of interesting if it's true.
Well, it's easy to test. So
Well, yeah, but I can't test it till tomorrow.
yeah.
But what he's saying basically is that if I play this up and I get to like 10 chests again, and then it resets for the day, and my claim button is there, but then I just continue to play, that the counter keeps going up on my 10 chests, but earning chest 11 is like earning chest 1, where it's low RP. It's like this 112. So I can play and earn my way from 10 to 20 for the same amount of points as 0 to 10. And then double up my rewards when I go to claim, and then theoretically play again and get myself to 10. Now, if you could do that, that is definitely an exploit for the people who are here, and it should be reported and stopped, because that's like
yeah,
totally
the moment
cheating and double playing. But I've never actually tried to do that, so I don't know if it works. But don't forget, Alex trolls us sometimes. He could just be trying to get you to waste an energy tomorrow and play a game with a with a with your chest waiting to be claimed, and
Yeah,
you
right.
get no RP points for either quest.
Yeah, if you are actually if the claim button shows up, should no longer be receiving focus points for that. Like it should stop until you claim it.
Oh, I
So
wonder
it
if I
does not.
can test it. You know what? If I'm gonna test it, I'll test it on my alt account. I haven't even played it this season very much, but I'll go
Oh,
play it a
perfect
little
time.
bit. I'll go play it a little bit, and then I can earn some chests for tomorrow. And then when it clicks over, I'll see if I can do it or not. Yeah, Virus says he has to turn off his auto claiming to find out. Well, guys, we might have found an exploit, or Alex is trolling you all out of one energy. We'll find that out. I figured, unless either of you have something really important you want to hit on really quick, we could start saying our goodbyes because it's been almost 2 hours, and I think Aftersound, you've graciously stayed with us a lot longer than I think you originally had wanted to. So,
No, we had a good conversation, man.
yeah.
So thank
I
you.
think it was only 20 minutes. Are you sure?
No, it's been an hour and 40 minutes, and
Every time,
I
every
want to
time
respect the man where it's almost midnight and let him get some rest.
I appreciate that. But Bebeomega, man, it's the same time, same thing every time I stream. I feel like you just jump into the conversation, you start looking at stuff, playing some games, and all of a sudden it's like, what? 2 hours later, what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but I guess one thing we could touch on really quick. Do you have what do you think about GLX? Because we do usually talk about that a little bit here, but just they missed the boat. They didn't get it
Oh,
out. We don't have Messi. I mean, he's bringing hype to the league. I'm starting to see stuff on Twitter, and I'm like, our game still isn't out. You still can't earn rewards.
yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I said this to someone earlier, and I was just like, the game is so basic in its current state, right? And I know it's going to improve, and they have a lot of cool ideas for it. But it's weird that they're starting the marketing now because if you're trying, like, for people like us, if the earnings are good and there's a cool like tokenomics thing that's happens there, like all the Splinterlands folks and anybody who's Web3 might go in and check it out. But if you're like a soccer fan, or if you're just like a trading card fan, or like, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like they need to add a lot more before they start the marketing. So I know they talked about having like this credit that they needed to spend by the end of July. So it's like, okay, sure, we're hopefully getting some folks there, but now we're running into the whole like, if people come in, like we're not seeing that volume in the market, for example. So I just hope that they're not spending the money prematurely. All right, focus on the game, get it to a place where it's appealing, and I actually enjoy playing it. Oddly enough, it hasn't gotten old on me yet, even though I've been playing it just briefly here and there. But I think that there's a lot of other elements that could come into the mix, and I'm just playing with a bunch of like scrub mediocre 25-cent cards.
I think you're a little bit ignoring, or not ignoring, but underestimating the fact that this, unlike Splinterlands, where all cards are fantasy cards and like lore and stuff like that, these are actual real football players. So it's, even if the game is not that appealing, I think there'll be some players that actually buying the packs just to have their favorite football player or whatnot. And especially imagine if they do a Messi airdrop or something like that, people will be just buying them like hot cake, man. Just like, I don't know. I do understand about the game being basic, but so was Splinterlands when it started,
Mm-hmm.
and it was totally different than what it is now. So
Yeah, I will admit I was really kind of dogging this whole project until me and Baby Omega played a game on stream for fun one day. And when I was playing with him face to face and we were commentating it back and forth, it was actually really fun.
Yeah,
And
it's
the crowd liked it too. They were like, oh, like even a couple of them said like, "Whoa, that was actually kind of entertaining."
yeah.
And
Again, so I'm not trying to be bearish on it long term. It's just weird for me that they would start the marketing now. All right. So like my hope is that we get some other cooler aspects. We get the earning of it, and then they really go heavy on the marketing. But at the end of the day, like, uh, land 1.5 first, it seems, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, see,
everything is
Alex
massive.
was here that night. He was saying it was fun to watch us play when we were actually commenting. You know, like Bebeomega makes a pass, oh interception, oh shot, score, and like, we had a little fun with it. But the problem with that, they need a challenge feature added to it so
Yeah,
that
they
right,
definitely.
the only reason we could play each other is because we were the only two people playing at that exact time. So we matched to each other, but we couldn't have set that up otherwise. So hopefully they
Yeah.
add that in.
I'm excited for skills because that'll change things up. Like right, like I have a bunch of basic cards. So if I go up against an overpowered team, then it kind of sucks. But if they add in skills that could do mix things up a little bit, and I'm looking forward to the full launch of the game.
All we
Yeah,
need
yeah.
is
So am I. I haven't
time.
actually been playing in beta because I just don't have the time. But I do hope we get it done. But thanks for being here with us tonight. Aftersound, the Bebeomega, as always, it's been fun chatting with everybody. You guys want to go ahead and say goodbye, and then we'll end it.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. I saw the chat was pretty active. We couldn't pay attention much at all, but we had a special guest, so we had to pay attention to him as much as we can. But thanks, guys, for your support. Thanks for being here with us. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'm leaving the mic to Aftersound to drop it.
well, thank you guys for having me. This was super fun. We'll have to do it again sometime. But Baby Omega, it was good to finally chat with you after a bit. Steve, I know
Likewise.
we just chatted over the weekend, but I always appreciate your guys' perspective because at least relative to me, you are OGs. I feel like I'm still like a newer player, even though I've been here for 2 years. So having these kind of conversations always helps because it's like you guys have that longer term perspective, and I think it's easy to get caught up in the like even GLX, for example, right? BB Omega was talking about how Splinterlands was so basic when it first came out, and look at where we're at now. So I do get excited about a lot of things that they're working on, but I know that my impatience has to understand that there's a lot of time and energy that needs to go into this before it can be what we're all hoping it'll be. But appreciate you guys having me on. As always, this is super fun, and chat
You know,
Splinterlands. So
you know what they say, when in doubt, just zoom out.
there you go.
Yep, yep. We'll end it there, guys. And yeah, sorry, the chat a couple times, guys. You guys had your own conversation, and I just didn't want to try to bring us into that.